Hey everybody, Thomas here, and today we're out here with my buddy Neil and Joby, and we are looking at his LT35. This is going to be episode number 2 of Searching for Sawmills. He's had this mill for about a month now. It's got the Kohler Pro, or Kohler Command, the 25 horsepower on there. It does have a debarker, and you can see that debarker there working with a little light. The mill is a hydraulic and electric mill. It's, let's see, 21 foot is the cut length on this mill. The hydraulics are back here. We went over, just before we did the video, some of the things he does and does not like about the mill. Overall though, he's very happy with the mill. You know, anytime you can produce good quality lumber is always a plus. But the mill is relatively clean. As you see, he's pushing back there. Well, he stopped right there by the wheel. On the LT35, and I believe on the 40, it might be the same thing, where you actually have this area where you can step over while you're traveling down the actual log deck. Now, the head control up and down is done with electric, and also the head back and forth is done with electric. Also, the hydraulics themselves there's an electric motor inside there with a hydraulic pump. Now that hydraulic unit, if you will call it, the hydraulic power unit, if you will, I was actually expecting to see more hydraulic fluid that was actually in there, but it's actually a pretty small hydraulic, tank or reservoir that is going off of. But the only thing that's hydraulic will be the loader, the log dogs, the log stops, the turner, and the tow boards. And then again, the head movement up and down is all done with electric. It's pretty interesting because I've actually not seen this type of turner before. It works pretty well. I didn't realize that there's springs and stuff in there that cause it to spring back. But here in a second, he's about to turn the log, and we'll see how he does this. So he just engaged the clutch. He's taking his log dog out. There's a log turner. As you can see, the hydraulics push it up, then the spring will actually pull the claws back. And he uses his log dog to go ahead and press it in there. That's interesting. And it's always interesting when you see, new things about a mill. Now, one of the things I was asking him, what does he like or doesn't like about this mill? One of the things he said, the legs that you use to actually level the mill out, there's no fine adjustment to them. You literally just have, these holes right here, and you adjust your height and you shim it, but there's no fine adjustment to adjust that. I also asked him, what did you think about this movable piece? He said it'd be nice if that one was fixed and you had another one out here when you're cutting the 21 foot length stuff. So I can see that as something to be nice to have. Now, on the head up and down, the interesting thing is it can't go, or excuse me, not head up and down, your hydraulics. Once you get away from this, I guess, power bar right here, as you will, once you go further down the log, if by chance you left the log dogs up, then you actually wouldn't be able to move them out of the way. You would have to come back to your hydraulic panel right here to lower them down if you misjudge the height of them. The starting and stopping the clutch is similar to that of the LT15 I used to have. You just have a lever. In this case, you pull the lever down, and it engages belts on a pulley system to engage that clutch. Again, looking down the length of the log, you've got a decent amount of cutthroat there vertically, but you do have the belt diagonal section, and that does limit to how large of a log you can actually put through on this side, or how big of a stack of squared up wood you can have. The fuel tank is out here on the right side, I guess used for a counterbalance. I just thought that was interesting. I'm so used to having the water on mine being on this side, the fuel tank on the other side. But the mill seems to be cutting great lumber. He's had it again for about a month or so, and they've really pumped out some wood with it. Now my buddy Neil, who's out here running on the chainsaw, he actually has his sawmill just right over there. We'll do his sawmill another day, but this is pretty interesting. So again, he brings the saw head back. His little gripper comes up, it turns it over. Yep, up against the... Yep, pretty neat though. So he's not going to use the hydraulic log dog to hold it in place, because he's got two squared up sides now. It's pretty interesting now. So his controls, again, on the head movement forward and back, he's got a switch on there. He can actually just let it go. He just engaged his debarker with another switch. And just watching it go through the log. Again, your controls back here, your hydraulics and everything. This is your log, dog, in and out. This is up and down. This is your log turner. These are your toe boards front and rear. And that is your, loader right there. Pretty interesting. Also, essentially you have one rectangular tubing section on this side, and it kind of tapers down. Again, what he said he likes on the longer logs, it'd be nice if it had some kind of extra support right in this section right here, just when you're cutting those longer pieces. I do like how he's able to push off the logs without having to worry about, like on my mill, you have that extra support right there holding the mill head. He's able to just push them off to the side. So that's actually a pretty big plus right there. And then on this one, your blade guide in and out is done just like the LT15. You've got that black bar right there. You can move that guide, that movable guide in and out. That's actually really convenient. On the 1400 mil that I had and on 1200 mils, you actually have to use a nut system to screw it in and out, and then you can push it with your hand. Having it on a pivot system like that is actually really nice. So when you're cutting down the log, if you actually come to a situation where your blade guide's not far enough over, that'd be really nice to have that ability to not have to stop the mill, come around to one side and move it out there. Being able to adjust on the fly is really nice. So that's something I really do like. For running multiple mills, that's a plus. Now the log stops on this side, they are hydraulic and they are sweep. So he's only got 2 of them on there. I'm going to talk to him here in a second, see what he thinks about 2, or if he wishes he had more. I can see that maybe being an issue if you're cutting some really small stuff, like 3 foot or less, because I find that I often cut that. Now I do like the exhaust chute on this. The exhaust chute does help to keep a lot of that sawdust away from the mill, but you're still going to get sawdust that'll build up on your track area, because you're going to get some of that stuff coming right off the blade. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it real quick, and we're going to talk to Joby here in a second, see what else he has to say about this mill. Folks, I'm here with Joby, and we are going over the simple set works, or simple set works, I guess, here on the Woodmizer. So it's pretty interesting. He was just explaining to me how it works. So we'll give you an example here. So he's going to take it up to 10 inches. So you can see we're at 10 inches on there. The way that this works is it remembers the last place where the blade was. So say he's made his cut all the way through the log, and he's set it now at a 1/4 inch. So we've already made the cut through the log. He's going to bring it up to some height above that. So he's gone through, he's coming back now and everything. Now he wants to do that next cut. So all he has to do is pop it down just one time, and he goes to 9 3/4. So that's pretty interesting. And it does have a couple presets you can put in there, but the adjustments,
it's got 1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2. So if you're cutting a lot of 1-inch boards, you're cutting a lot of 2-inch boards, whatever that simple preset may be, you can have that in there. Now, this right here will put it back into a manual mode, where you can just kind of move it up and down wherever you want to. There'll be no memory with it. But going through and selecting your presets and everything is just going through and clicking through the options. And then going at, is that 1/8 of an inch at a time, or?
Yeah,
eighth of an inch, but it's actually walking through. So you got 3/4, 11/16, 5/8, 9/16, 1/2 inch. So pretty interesting. I hadn't seen it before, and again, everything's controlled with the electric motor. And I may have said something incorrectly before. The battery is not in here. The battery is down here. And actually, after figuring out what this strip does, this strip right here, all this does is provide power to the HP unit, the hydraulic pressure power unit inside of here through this strip. So if you're cutting down the log and you get off this strip and you notice that your log dogs are too high, you can't adjust them.
Your SOL, you pretty much have to drive wedges in the log,
yeah,
to raise it up and then back your machine.
Because we were trying to figure out that, and I'm looking at this and I'm trying to figure out, why couldn't you just add more of an extension onto this, run that copper plate all the way down, or something that may be even easier is what we were talking about, putting a little battery inside there, a little 12-volt battery, if you do get into a certain situation like that. And once it gets back to here, your alternator should be providing power to this, which would then charge up that battery. So little things, but overall, it's a very capable mill, very compact. One of the things we talked about, it has the 2 log dogs right here. It also does have 2 more manual log dogs right here as well. So these would be good for cutting, say, something smaller than the standard, 6 feet or 8 feet between these. So that's actually pretty neat there. But in all actuality, when you're cutting a lot of dimension lumber, you don't need all these log dogs. You only need essentially 2 if you're cutting longer stuff. But pretty interesting mill. Very excited just to see an LT35 in person. I've seen an LT40 before. That's all hydraulic, and we actually got one of those coming up here soon too, a later episode. But again, we're looking at all different mills, pros and cons of each. Overall though, very capable mill. I mean, it is producing a lot of lumber. He was cutting a lot of 5/8 boards for fencing. It's interesting how they use some solenoid controls and stuff like that to do multiple things. So there's, from what I understand, your log turner uses the same hydraulic pump, or not pump, but the, I guess, lever that your log dogs are. Excuse me, log stops. Oh, I'm all over the place. And then your log dog right here, in and out, it just rolls on this. Essentially, this feels like it's just a hydraulic cylinder, but it's actually controlled down there below, which is very similar to my first episode, the Green Machine from Greene County. It had something very similar to this for a log dog. Did not have up and down, but it was very similar mechanism to move it in and out. Overall though, if you're looking at LT35, it is a great starter mill. Your cutthroat area is a little bit smaller than, say, a Timber King or something like that. But as you can see, you do have this diagonal right here that would cut into, if you're leaving a big squared cant on here. And your height, let's see if I can measure this real quick. Sorry, I'm getting a tape measure out. Looks like you have about 10.5 inch or so cutthroat that way. And then once you get up, you get about 10 inches that way. And again, your blade guide in and out, it's right here, which it is tight right now. I can't even move, but that's actually something that would be nice to see on a Timber King 1400 or 1220, excuse me. But overall, pretty impressive little machine. And I think Joby's got a good purchase. He actually got this used not too long ago, got a great deal on it, and he's been putting it to work. He got it with about 30 hours on it, and he's somewhere in the neighborhood of 120 hours on it right now. So pretty cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. This is episode 2, looking at LT35. More to come. Next episode, might even be just right across the road over there. We'll see. So stay tuned. We'll see you around. Thanks. All right, folks, I'm over here with Joby and Neil. We are actually taking my Fawn-Law's 1220 frame, and this is where the actual work will be done. So that's the 1220 frame right there. And I'll show you the material that they're going to be adding on to it. Again, we're doing the 6-foot extension onto this sawmill. And he's got a buddy who's got a machine shop, so he can get, exactly the steel size we're looking for. So we've got these new rails here. This is going to be, of course, the rail that the saw head travels down, and you've got this is going to be the tongue section right here, and then we have some round bar right here that actually has a plate already on the bottom of it. So pretty interesting. I can't wait to see this addition go onto there, but nice load of steel right there. This will add the 6-foot extension onto the 1220 mil. Also, the length of these, there'll also be cross members in there associated with this as well. So part 2, you know, the addition, first thing, acquisition of the mill done. Second thing, you know, part 2 is adding on all this. Part 3 is me actually swapping the engine over. And then, yeah, a lot more to go. All right, folks, Thomas here again. And this has been a long day. This morning, as you saw, we dropped off the 1220 mil with my buddy Neil. Then we did the shooting of the LT35 with my buddy Joby. Now, then I went to my buddy Jack's house and picked this up. So I'm not going to tell you what this is. If you have any idea what woodworkers or what sawyers always want to do with their wood, that's exactly what this is. So I'm sure someone's going to say in the comments below, and I'm not going to make a contest on this one, but you know what this is. This is actually something I've been thinking of for a long time, and this is going to be a prototype model. Now, my full scale model will not be cylindrical. That's the intent. This one's actually to test out a theory on a few ways to, I can't give it away. You all know what this is. This is going to be a prototype model. I'm just going to leave it at that. This is for me to test out some theories. We have a big pipe, we have a little pipe. The big pipe does something, the little pipe does something, and then something in between. But I'm very, very anxious to do this. I'm actually using a lot of my engineering mindset thinking and trying to figure out problems, because every day I think I have something figured out, I come up with a new problem. But there's no way to actually, you know, test your theories and with a prototype model. So this is gonna be a prototype model, roughly 3/8 inch thick steel, length around 6-ish foot. Opening on the inside is just under 24 inches. The exterior diameter, I believe, is 24. Interior, just slightly less than that. But yes, this is going to be the prototype model. And again, the final product that I'd like to do down the road will be a rectangular shape, I believe. But this is going to be, again, to test a few theories that I have, and we'll see from there. So I'm not going to tell you what this is. I'm sure you in the comments below you're gonna get it right. But yeah, this has been a long time coming, and finally I've got the right people in the area that I live, the right mindset, the right skill set. So we'll see what we can make this thing turn into. This is gonna be pretty interesting. This is something that my buddy and I, Jack, have been talking about for about 2.5 years. Well, there's no time like the present. We're actually gonna make it. So there's that. Also, I did cut a lot of wood this morning before we dropped off the sawmill. So hopefully I'll put this at the end of either the 1220 dropping off the sawmill video, which is not a lot of content there, or checking out the LT35 sawmill for searching for sawmills episode 2. So stay tuned. A lot of stuff coming, y'all. I'm telling y'all, this is going to be one heck of a year. This is going to be one build. We're still working on the shop over there. We're working on the 1220 build. I mean, there are so many things that are going on. It's insane. And I've got to get all these things started with these businesses I have and everything, and additions to the sawmill. We've got to get these businesses started, because I got to figure out what I'm going to do. What am I going to be when I grow up? So, all right, stick around. Please like and subscribe. This is going to be a fun channel. I'm trying to get the channel to grow, see if I can start getting some sponsors to help me on some of these things, because we are starting to go big. I'm talking big, folks. So stay tuned. We'll see you around. Thanks.